Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We're back to work again on the old truck box. Now you saw in that little clip in the beginning that I pressure washed the bed sides, got a lot of this loose flake off of it, and as you can see, yes, it's back on the little trailer. I've done some work without yous, ground back all the rusty holes, and I just put some fiberglass mat and resin on there, went around the wheel openings, put some seam sealer, and then just threw some trim clad on there. So for now, the inside of the bed is done. This may get, a bed liner, it might get nothing, who knows. But the bed sides here, there are lots of issues. We got dents in various places. As you can see, these need all pulled out here. Once again, the flaky paint. Now this box side has been resprayed. I noticed in here the paint lifting off, so this was never prepped. It has been resprayed. Now got some rotted out outer fender arches here. I'm going to clean this up. If I have to put a little metal in, I'm going to, but I'm not too concerned about this. I think I mentioned before, I want to do some flares on here, on all four fenders of the truck, put a flare on. So this doesn't have to look great. It has to look good, but it doesn't have to look great, okay? So there's lots to do, lots to do. Now, hammers and dollies, great tools for removing, dents like this. But beware that every time you strike the hammer against the dolly and the metal is in between, you're flattening the metal with every hit. And therefore, the metal is actually being stretched in order to push the dent back out. So sometimes a steel dolly may not be the best choice. Maybe a small wood block would be a better choice to help that metal move forward, because it is so soft and has more of a cushion to it than a steel block. So when I get this dent out, it may still be slightly recessed so that it does not distort, okay? And then just top that off with some filler. All right, so this hammered out not too badly. It's good enough for now. See what happens when I get some filler on it. I think there's a high spot here, though. Just body line doesn't follow quite right. That could be from the dent, because as the material goes in here, then it gets pushed out around the edge. That's another situation. Down here, this piece has to get pulled out before this rim can get repaired. So I'm gonna see if I can put a bar down in here, because there's a bracket here with a 90 on it and with embosses in it. Should be strong enough to slip a little bar and block in and push this out. Okay, let me catch you up. basically used pry bar, block of wood, vice grips, couple of dollies, and hammers. Got in here, pushed this out. Now it's high here. I'm going to have to knock that down because I have the other side. The other side is in better condition, and this line follows through down to about here somewhere. So that's definitely high there. A lot of this got pushed out by prying against here. You can see it looks way better than it did, and then hammered and dollied the lip in here. This really took about 15-20 minutes. Now I've set the tail light in on the driver's side as a model. Okay, I can see where it sits, what pushes against where. So I'm going to take this tail light and mount it in here, and then I'll show you what's going to happen next. With the tail light mounted, you can see, I'll try to get you up under here, this is pushing out. I think it's actually sticking out too far here, but right here is right where the sheet metal is. So I think this crease is ate up some sheet metal. I need to try to get a little more of it out so that it can move up. By getting hit here, it actually pulled this down. But overall, looks pretty good by the looks of things. Right here probably needs to go in to relieve some of that gap. I'll show you the other side. You can see over here, there's not quite as much of a gap. It sits a little nicer here. So I think that's the biggest issue now, is to relieve some of this pressure off of here so that this corner of the light sits in, and try to get a little more of this metal out. Now, I've come a long way in a short time. I hammered and dollied this, and that helped. The tail light sitting in here a little better. I ground this back and I welded some pins on, and I'm working on pulling this crease out. And the more I pull out, the better this looks. Okay. The problem is the slide hammer that comes with this Chicago electric welder is pretty much garbage. This end is junk. So what I'm doing, I'm clamping on here, needle nose vice grips like that, putting dolly here, taking the claw hammer, putting it in behind there, and prying that out. Works way better than a slide hammer. Now, I got this all ground back, 36 grit roll out. It looks pretty good. Starting to come into shape here. Might be a little high there. Might need to ding it down a little there. But I'm going to get a skim of Glass Plus on this area, or a Bondo glass, whatever I'm working with right now, and fill that in, because that's what you need to fill in something like that. Fillers applied and hardened. It's next day now. I had company come over, and you can't work when you got company. So I'm going to knock this down with 80 grit DI sander with a medium density backing pad, kind of get the shape here. Hit any of the other areas like these that are going to need some filler with either the roll-lock or 80 grit, and then get some body filler out and give all those a wipe. And this will be a whole nother problem when, and I'll be able to sort that out once the flares show up. Now, I got a bunch of high spots here that I've got this sanded back. These are from prying the crease out with the pry bar. So I'm going to have to knock them down with a pointed hammer before I skim this with filler. Now, as you can see, I just kind of half-assed traced out where that's going to sit on this side. And I just took the same one, put it on the other side, just as a, you know, a ballpark figure. So there's no point in doing a whole lot of extra to the rotted out bit here. Grind this back and, you know, maybe fiberglass it or whatever. So I have to remind you that I'm trying not to put a whole lot of money into this old truck box, because it is like barely worth saving. But a new one or a southern one is currently not in the budget. So the tiny bit of money that I put into this will get me by for a while. So let's get back to fixing up some of the dents and knocking down this body filler. Forty cable DA electric, short work out of that. It's not flat, okay, but it is nicely shaped, and it's because it has a very hard pad on it that I'm able to get, you know, a quick, reasonably flat surface. Now I do have my DA sander. It has a medium pad on it, so now I can go over that with this and create some more contour line before I get the block out. So I'm going to carry on some of these other areas, get them knocked down. Just trying to work on the project. Project as a whole is the best thing to do when you're working. I mean, yeah, you see in the videos I work on a spot because it's a demonstration. But overall, when you're doing a project, like, you work on everything as a whole. So these are marked out now. This is going to get all ground down and whatever needs to be done as I move along. Now I started grinding this down, die grinder with a roll lock on it, and you know, some of this cleaned up here. Obviously, we know that's a big rust pocket there. But when I got over here, I started carving away, and it's solid Bondo. It looks like this fender is solid Bondo. Like, that is deep. I don't know if you can see in the shot, but that is well over 1/8 of an inch thick. And I haven't found any rusted metal yet, but there is a crack line going along here. Tells me this is probably solid Bondo. And that being said, when I'm done with it, it'll be probably solid fiberglass. Now, I tore into this with 40 grit flat disc on an angle grinder. Got her all chewed up. There's a Bondo glass in here. It looks like a lot of body fill. My next approach now will be trim all the really thin areas out with a cutting wheel, especially this. Go over it with a wire wheel, get what I can out of it, which I think won't be too bad. We'll get out the mat, we'll get out the fiberglass resin, and dress this whole area to seal it back up. I hope this video isn't getting too dang long, but you know, you can see through the fiberglass that I put a series of little patches in here. I ended up cutting this section out. It was just too far gone. Tack welded in some patches, and then I put a coat of matte and resin over this whole area. It's just too damn hot to work. Sprayed it down with some trim clad, seal it up a little bit, all them bald areas. This still looks pretty good coming along. Got a little more filler on there, and that's about as far as I could get. It's just, they say, too damn hot. Got some filler wiped on here. I'm gonna have to grind this back again, get a fiberglass patch in here, but it is what it is. It's gonna take a while to get this done. I'm just not overly ambitious. Now, it's been a week since I had the opportunity to work on this. I sanded the black paint, the trim clad, down with 80 grit on the DA, and then I coated this in fiberglass reinforced filler Bondo brand, just to bring the surface up, give me more to work with. Still a little low in there. I have to work with what's here because somebody did body work before me. So I hit these areas with the DA as well, and down there. But since it was coated in black trim clad for the week, now I knocked it down, but now you can see I'm using what's left as a guide coat to get me a straight body line with a block. Making progress fairly quickly here today. Knock the fiberglass filler down with the DA, 80 grit, be able to put body filler on that. But this has come out really nice. The body line's falling into place. A little bit of metal there, might not be a problem though. So that's looking real good. This needs all tidied up, these gouge marks from the grinder. Down here, this is all flattened back out. It's low here, needs a little fill. It was high here where this metal is, banged it down with a hammer, and then blocked it flat. So there is a little bit of a low spot here now. Put a little filler on there, a little filler on there, and this little section here should be straight. And I have to fix, I'll be fixing this line here using some masking tape to get a straight edge, fill it up, block it down, put the round in it. That's how that goes. And then I can move on down into these other areas. And then I'll catch up when I get a bunch more done, because I'm not going to bore you with a ton of body work. Now, I've done a ton of body work without you guys to get to the point where I'm at. There's just too much to video, too much to show, but everything is roughed in, okay? And everything is sanded back. It's not perfect. I'm going to hit the bare metal areas like these with let me get it here. We are Rust-Oleum self-etch on all the bare metal areas, and then hammer on 2 coats of Dominion Sure Seal high build primer. Well, there it is, guys. Etch prime the bare metal areas. 2 coats Dominion Sure Seal high build. Looks pretty good. Bodywork. Rough in is buried. Okay. The other side still to be completed. I think in the next video we come back, hopefully paint the backside here and get it back on the chassis to either put it away for the winter or finish this body work and get some paint on it. So till the next video, guys. Peace.